Hi everyone. Today's prenatal class in pregnancy is for those of you who are suffering from issues that have something to do mostly with the stomach. So you suffer from some stomach pain, maybe you have acidity coming back, reflux, heartburn. So we want to release any tension in this area. It's hard because the baby is just pressing onto the stomach. There is not much space, especially when you move further in your pregnancy. So it just depends on the position of the baby. If the baby's butt is directly pressing onto your stomach, then it's the worst feeling ever, I guess. And then when the baby moves a little bit, you might find some relief. But in this practice today, we also want to make more space in this area, opening the chest a lot. So hopefully you will feel a little bit better after the class. I've been suffering from all of those in the last trimester, so I've been using the poses on a regular basis just to find some relief and release the nausea that sometimes is coming from all the acidity. You will be needing some props just for the last pose, so if you can have 2 blocks at hand and maybe a bolster, or if you don't have anything, you can also grab 2 thick books, maybe a bed pillow instead. And if you don't have anything at all, just don't worry, you can also do a seated meditation in the end instead. So let's begin in a seated position, so any way that is comfortable to you. Can be also kneeling. You can put a blanket or a block underneath your butt to be a little bit lifted. And we will start with some chest openers, so you can bring the arms up in the 90-degree angle, kind of like a cat and cow seated. So on the inhale, open the chest, look up. Exhale, round the back, contract. Inhale, look up. Exhale, reverse. And just feel what your body needs and what feels good. And you can stay in some of the poses for a bit longer if it feels like, oh, this is it, this feels really nice. So adjust the practice so it really suits your needs. Few more like this with your own breath. You can also be short on breath sometimes, so if that's the case, you can also breathe throughout the mouth, even though in yoga we usually breathe through the nose. But don't worry about it. Just make it as comfortable as possible. One more like this. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, release, round the back. Let's release the arms. And you can place the right hand onto the mat, and the left arm goes up and over for a side body stretch, so creating more space into the ribs, the side body. Imagine you can breathe directly into the side, the left side of the body. Then we will switch sides, so the left hand goes onto the mat and the right arm goes up and over your right ear. And come back to center. And you can find a position on your hands and knees into the tabletop position. So the hands are underneath the shoulders, the knees under the hips. Can be wider than the hips to make space for your growing belly. Cat and cow, this time the traditional version. So inhale, drop the belly, look up. Exhale, round and contract. Inhale, gaze up. This really, for me personally, feels really good. And exhale. Push into the mat. Few more like this. You can close your eyes, maybe to feel the movement a bit more intuitively. And try to follow your breath. So with each breath, you make a movement. One more like this. Find the neutral spine again and do any movement that feels good in the moment. So moving your hips, moving around, or maybe you want to continue with the cat and cow. Just close your eyes and try to notice how you are feeling today, physically, mentally, where you hold the most tension. Use this time to scan your body and your mind. So any free movement that you feel like doing now. And then slowly finish what you are doing and come back to center, neutral spine again. Keep the legs as they are. Walk the hands forward to the top of the mat and then lower your chest for puppy stretch. So you can lower the elbows also onto the mat and lowering the chest as close to the mat as possible. Again, another chest opener, shoulder opener. And tuck your belly a little bit into the spine so you are not collapsing through your back. You can put your forehead onto the mat and breathe. Keep pressing the armpits closer to the mat to create more space. And walk your hands back to the tabletop position and come all the way back to sit onto your heels. Just a quick pause here. Clasp your fingers behind your back and roll your shoulders down away from the ears and look up. Few breaths in here. Not a big movement. Keep pressing the shoulders down. And release. Walk your hands back a bit further, again closer to the top of the mat. Tuck your toes under and find your first downward facing dog. So any movement that feels good here, maybe paddling the feet, nodding, shaking your head. Make it intuitive again. See what your body needs. Keep pressing the belly closer to the thighs. And then you can walk the feet to meet the hands in the top of the mat. Widen your stance so it's as wide as the mat or even wider depending on the size of your belly. And you can grab the opposite elbows and just rock here from side to side. Relax your head. Release your hands down and then slowly come all the way up to stand. Make it really slow so you don't feel dizzy. Take the time for the transition from being closer to the mat all the way up. And once you feel like, okay, I've got it, you can widen your stand, bring the heels in, toes out. And slowly you can start bending into the knees. So really big wide squat. Goddess pose. And we will add the arms and some movement. So the arms in the cactus shape, just like we did in the beginning. And then on the inhale, open the chest. Exhale, round and contract. Inhale. Exhale. One more like this. Inhale. And exhale. Release the arms, place the hands onto the knees. Come back to the deep squatting and drop the right shoulder to the front. Maybe looking over your left shoulder a little bit. Let's switch sides. The left shoulder goes forward. And one more on each side. Come back to squat. Come back up, keep the knees bent. Probably you feel the burn right now. And on the inhale, arms up, straighten the legs, look up. Exhale, bend the knees again, lower the arms. Two more like this. Inhale, all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees, lower the arms. Once more. And release. You can walk the feet back together. Not completely, so still with the heels in, toes out. And slowly coming down, this time for a yogi squat, so not as a big squat as we had before, but very different and really great to do on a daily basis in preparation for giving birth. So first, choose the version that works for you, make enough space for the belly. You can use your hands for support, to have them in front of you. You can put a block underneath the sit bones, so you are more supported. Just make sure your spine is nice and long, so you are not rounding through the spine. So still, we want to keep the chest open, the shoulders not rounding. And let's slow down our breath here after this little bit more active sequence. If at any point you feel dizzy or you feel like you cannot breathe properly, slow down and just stop. There is no need to push yourself too far. There is nothing to prove to anyone. You are doing it for yourself to feel better, not worse. Even though sometimes we need to push harder through some things, this is not the case. Relax your shoulders. No tension in the shoulders, they are away from the ears. And really nice opening into the hips, the inner thighs, inner groin. All very needed for the delivery of your baby. And slowly you can release the hands and come to take a seat. Get there any way that is possible. And now it's gonna be the time for the props. So if you have the blocks, you want to place them one to the top of the mat, the other one a little bit towards the center. Or if you are using the books instead, the same placement. And this might be already enough. So the one I will put underneath the head, I put it a little bit higher on the second position of the block. And the one that will go underneath the shoulder blades, the back, I am putting on the lowest level. So you can do the same with the books. And you can already lie down like that. If you don't have any other prop, you don't want to use any pillow, then it's fine like that. Or to make it a little bit more softer and comfortable, you can place the bolster on top, or a pillow or a blanket will work too. And then somehow, gracefully or not, we will try to put the upper body, the back, onto the props. So it's also a great way to open the chest, this supported fish pose. Try to squeeze the shoulder blades a little bit together, so you really feel the whole chest has a lot of space. You can relax the arms alongside your body. And if it doesn't feel good or you didn't bring any props, you can also just take a seat or lie down on your left side and use this time as a form of meditation, to stay in quiet and just to be with your baby and to enjoy the time with your baby. So choose what works for you now, and then slowly start closing your eyes. Notice how you are feeling now compared to the beginning of the class. You can come back to your natural breathing, nothing forced. Just try to make the breaths a little bit deeper and slower. You can stay like this, or if you want, you can also add some inner thigh opener, inner groin, and bring the feet together to touch for supported butterfly. So just adding another stretch, but this is completely optional, like everything we did today. But it's also a great pose to prepare you for birth. I try to do this pose daily to open the chest, to open the lower body. I listen to some affirmation, or sometimes I just lie in quiet. And I take it as an opportunity that it's just me and my baby. Slowly you can start coming out of the pose, so take the time. Maybe it's better to roll onto your left side first, not to engage the belly. Use your arms, hands for support, and then find any seated position, maybe just the way you started. Close your eyes, bring the hands together to touch in front of the heart. The spine is nice and long. You are reaching with the crown of the head towards the sky. Shoulders are relaxed. And take a moment to thank yourself for making the time, for maybe forcing you onto the mat to do something for your well-being, but also for your body and for your baby. I do hope you found some relief and that you enjoyed the class. Namaste. And I do hope you will come back to my classes either in pregnancy or after for postpartum recovery, that I already shot some classes that you can find on my YouTube channel. And if you haven't already, just do subscribe to my channel to support my work further. Thank you so much, and I wish you all the best. Bye.